there's a whole stack of bullshit on YouTube about the Prius dash. So you can see I've got an engine light on there, and I've got nothing else on. Okay, there's no ready, no speedometer, nothing. Okay, the car's running. I don't know if you can hear that now. That display's off at the moment, so as you can see, this is all on. If I put it in reverse, okay, it's out of park, the car's running, I don't get a reverse camera. I don't have anything on the dash, and even to the point where you open the door, you don't have an indicator for the door. That's all caused by, well, you can see I'm in reverse, okay? So the car's moving, all right? That's all caused by a capacitor in the instrument cluster. So all these easy fixes that you see with turning the headlights on and off, opening the door and press the climate button and turn the headlights on, it's all bullshit. All it's doing is it's creating a charge in the dash by doing those few things. So say for example, when you turn the headlights on and off, it should send a dim signal to the dash. Okay, opening the door and closing the door obviously sends the door open indicator to the dash. So these few things can create enough charge on a failing capacitor to then operate the dash, okay, when you turn it on and off. Now I'm to the point now, because I've been pushing this car so much, I haven't I've bought the capacitor. It's like 14 cents, it's nothing, but you have to pull the whole dash out to get it, so which I'm going to show you now. All right, but because of that, now the car's running, I can't turn it off. So now I'm stuck. I'm in the middle of the city and I can't get out of the car and leave it because it won't turn off. All right, I can't pull the key out because it's running. So in this situation, it's just tough shit. You're stuck in the car until you can make this work and turn off. So there is no quick fix for that. I've even gone through pulling fuses and all sorts of stuff. Nothing fixes it, nothing sorts that out, other than disconnecting the battery and disconnecting the high voltage battery. That you've got so many dramas if you have to get into that. All right, so don't do it. You can cause so many more dramas by doing that. But in this situation here, I've just made a phone call for the person I'm picking up, and they're coming to meet me instead of me going to meet them. All right, so I'll get this home and get it in the shed, and I'm gonna have to start pulling them apart. But typically what happens is this will happen. So the dash hasn't been working, you can turn the car on and off and it comes on again. So you know, that intermittent fault comes up, but we've had half a dozen times now, which much to my wife's dismay, that you do get somewhere. Luckily for her, it's usually been getting home, and then we can't turn it off. So you can see there's no power light at all on the button. It's not the button, it's the dash, because the dash communicates with the gateway. So you lose a whole stack of things when this isn't operating. And if I had realised before I left home that the dash wasn't on, then I would have stopped, but I didn't. And you know, here we are, best part of 4 minutes into a video, and I'm just cranky. Anyway, let's get to fixing it. Okie dokie. Now we have our instrument cluster out, and you can see this capacitor here. It is a 100 microfarad 16 volt. Okay, it's polarized, so you can see on the board there that little plus over here. All right, so that's the positive leg, negative leg over this side. So it's C3, capacitor 3, C3. All right, and then so this is the negative leg on this side. So make sure you've got the positive and negative right. The other capacitor that was on there was a surface mount type. And you can see there it's 100 microfarad 16 volt. Okay, so it's like for like. This is the faulty capacitor. So I've tested it, and we've only got 14 microfarad instead of 100 microfarad. Okay, and it's intermittent. So that's why the dash keeps on dropping off. Now, this is pretty involved. To get to this point, you have to pull the whole dash out. So if you're not prepared to go this far, then don't even bother starting. So I'm going to run you back through, because I didn't record any of pulling it out, as to what needs to be done, what to look for as I reassemble. So we'll start putting the board back. This is the main cluster out of the dash. I'm going to give it all a bit of a wipe down while I'm at it, because it's pretty dirty. We'll clean all this up. So you can see here, that's where it sits. All right, and then it reflects back up through there onto the top. So that's like a heads-up display type setup with this cluster. Now, I did notice from doing a bit of research that so this is for a right-hand drive version, and the capacitors are on the right-hand side. The culprit capacitor, C3. It's still C3, but it looks like left-hand drive is on the opposite side, which is underneath the B for the braking. All right, so you would see it over here, but as you can see, it's C32. Now, I don't know why Toyota's done that, but just so that you're aware, C3 is the culprit. So right side under the odometer for right-hand drive, left side under the selector for left-hand drive. Anyway, so on the top of this cluster, there's some ribbon cables, and they go into these spots here. Okay, so you need to slide this connector forward, all right, on these two connectors. See if I can, so you can sort of see I've got one side clipped there, so I'll get the other side unclipped. And then this whole cluster goes in, and you can see there's little locating points, okay? So we'll locate them and line up these ribbon cables at the same time. Now, ribbon cables are pretty funny things. You want to be careful with them, because if you kink them, it can break, and then you are in a lot more dramas than just a dodgy capacitor. So they just need to slip in, all right, and they should just slip in, and then the whole board needs to sit in place. There's a little locator down there. Okay, so it's all located, so you can see it's all sitting flush. All right, make sure the ribbon cable's pushed in home, and then these sides can be pushed in, okay, and that'll lock, focus, that'll lock the ribbon cable in. All right, so then it's not going to vibrate out, and it's making good contact. So just once again, make sure it's pushed all the way in. Push them home. All right, sweet. So that's that done. And then there's a harness that clips onto the side here, but that's okay. This cover goes on the back. It's pretty obvious the way it goes, but it clips on. So just line it all up, a few little clips, and then there's 3 screws that go in it. All right. So you've got a screw here, a screw in the middle, and a screw on the opposite corner. And they're these little screws here. So I'll pause you and put those in. So with those screws back in, that's this all back together. Notice I haven't got that clipped on quite well. Alright, there we go, that's a bit better. Okay, and then this goes back into the dashboard. So I'll pull the dashboard up and we'll get that in. So putting this cluster back in, there's a whole stack of little locators that need to line up. So I didn't want to pull absolutely everything off here, and you can see it just needs to slip in, but there is that locator in there. So I need to be able to pull this section proud to be able to get the locator in behind it. I don't know if you can see it in there. See that? So and locate it in there. So there we go. And now that's sitting in its spot. So that can go, get screwed back here, screwed back on this side, another spot just here, so it's not quite in the right spot. I'll put it down, put the phone down and move it all back in, but basically there's just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I think it is, 1, 2, 3, no, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 screws I need to find. So I'll run you back through. So there's 2 here, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7 on the other side. Okay, so with these screws you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. So they need to come out, and this whole cluster comes out. There's one harness that connects into here. That's actually connecting the whole harness, the whole instrument cluster, sorry. And then this little part here, just a clip there for the wiring harness, and another one over here. Okay, and then that's all back together. So it does have a passenger airbag, so I'll show you when we reconnect that. But obviously, when you're mucking around with airbags, you need to make sure the battery's disconnected, the 12-volt battery. Okay, as you can see, for the most part, there's a few clips and locating points. All right, there's a lot of the trim that needs to come out. This is the solar sensor for the air conditioner. So if you did have a faulty solar sensor, now would be the time to fix it and replace that. And that's a pretty simple sort of thing to replace that too. And then this is the other cluster up on the dash. Okay, so not much to it. There's a couple of screws. There's the two bolts for the airbag. They're 12mm, and you need to take the glove box out to access those. So I'll show you when I'm putting them back in is where they are. The top glove compartment, you need to take that out, and there's 2 screws behind it. Okay, so that's pretty simple. And then on the driver's side, there's just the 1 screw which goes in through here, and then the rest of it's just clips and trims. Okay, so it's not real hard. It's very involved, obviously, and there's a lot of plastic. So on an older car, there's likely things are going to break. One thing that's worth noting too, as far as testing these capacitors, research and other avenues have led me to this capacitor, but in order to test it to make sure that is the actual faulty capacitor, you can use a multimeter, but you need to desolder at least one side off the board. You're better off desoldering it all together, so then you can just test the 2 pins on the back. Okay, and then you use a multimeter with the range set to capacitor. All right, so and that's going to measure the capacitance in farads. Okay, so microfarads, nanofarads, picofarads, whatever it is, but this is 100 microfarad. Okay, so the little UF micro. Alrighty, it's time to get this back in. Not real difficult. There's quite a lot of room in these cars as far as swinging it in. So I'll just swing it straight in. The only 2 things that need to be connected for the dash itself is these 2 harnesses on the driver's side, which is pretty straightforward and simple. I believe this is the gateway module. So if you did have gateway issues, this module is the one to replace. But don't quote me on that. I just want to double check that. Anyway, yeah, and this is for the airbag. All right, so you can see here, this is the bracket that the airbag bolts do. Okay, and with the glove compartment removed, it's a lot easier to see now because you've got light, and that's the 2 spots there. So you just need the 12mm socket on an extension, and then just those 2 bolts. So pretty simple. Those 2 bolts there, these 2 screws here, Obviously this compartment needs to come out. That's just got two little plastic covers and a screw on either side. So that's quite simple. All your pillar trims need to come off. This clip is the hardest part. Okay, it just needs to be rotated. So you just get in some needle nose pliers or something in there, and then you can twist that and it'll pop off the trim. Okay, so don't go yanking it. You'll break that clip, and then that's it's part of your restraint. But anyway, be cautious if you do have curtain airbags in here. And then yeah, there's not much to it. So yeah, on this side, just here is the screw. So this top cover, basically all the center vents and the top cover and all that sort of thing all have to come off, which for the most part they just pop off. All right, so same with the glove box. You don't need to take any screws out to remove that glove box, just the 2 screws for the top one. On the driver's side, there is screws down there to remove that panel. I didn't bother, I just popped it out, and yeah, that's it. So I am actually replacing all the vents. I bought new ones because these ones are cracked, which is pretty standard. And while I've got the car apart, I'm going to do a clock spring because the cruise control's got an intermittent fault, and then also intermittent faults with the switches for the airbag, the air conditioning temperature setting. So I'll replace this clock spring, and then that should fix all those things too. But I'll do a separate video on that. Alrighty, so I'm going to swing this back in, and then I'll show you as I start reassembling it. Alright, so there's tabs on the back side, and it'll just slot into those. And then once you've got it all lined up, you can see here all these clips. If they line up, this is our harnesses here. Okay, put our airbag connector back in. And then we've got screw, screw, screw. So we'll get those in. And our 2 airbag bolts, I'm going to put them in first. Alright, so what I want to do is I want to retest everything, okay? So I'm just going to plug all this together. I'm not going to finish putting anything back in just now. I'm going to find our park switch, because we're going to need that. I've got our airbag back together, and I'll put our center display back in. Okay, center displays back together. Alright, so that could actually go into place. Just like so. So there's 2 10mm bolts on the sides of those. I'm not going to put them back together just now. So over this side I've got our power switch just plugged in. I was going to pop this park switch out, because I'm going to replace it anyway, put it in the new panel. So that can go in there, that's all good. Alright, so everything's back together now to the point where we can test. So let's put our key in, and we're going to reconnect the battery. in the back here, because I couldn't start the car, I got stuck with having to go through the back here. Okay. All right. So this car, because I couldn't turn it off. Sorry, I couldn't turn the car off because I'd driven the car. I came home and the instrument cluster failed, and the communication with the gateway failed. So then consequently I couldn't turn it off. So I ended up just pulling the AM2 fuse and the ECU fuses and basically every fuse I could, and disconnecting the battery. So that's why when I reconnected the battery, it restarted the car. Okay, so now we'll go through, and you'll see I've got everything up at the moment because I've disconnected those things. So I'm going to have to go through with the scan tool and reset those. So yeah, she's all working, which is good news. Hopefully that's a 100% fix, because it was a bit of an intermittent fault, but it had really reared its ugly head a lot recently. So anyway, I'll keep getting this back together and just show you the other bits and pieces. So get you back out of that. So we've put the bolts in up here for the airbag. We're going to put these two screws in just here. Okay, we're going to put this screw in just here, and then from there the two 10mm on either side of this center display, and then these panels here can go back in, but I've got the new ones going in, so I'm going to get back into that now. Okay, so I'll come back to you now. We'll screw those two screws here and this screw here in, and these two 10mm in, and then I'll continue. Okay, this dash panel has got a couple of clips on it, all right, and some locators. So be careful when you put it back in. These are really bad. They, you can see here the plastic perishes. This is a replacement, and it's already broken. So obviously it's not brand new, but and it's the wrong type of trim. But sometimes you've got to deal with what you can get. So that's it. They just clip in, and then there's a screw down in here, a screw down there, and a screw down there with two little plastic covers that just clip over. All right, so they are a bit tricky to pull out. If you've got a hooked pick, that's a lot easier to get a hooked pick in there. This has been butchered before. That wasn't all me. Anyway, it's out of sight, out of mind, but you can see it doesn't hold up anymore because the plastic's broken on the top there. All right, and you can see the tension that it puts on the dash there, and that's why the dash starts to bow at that point. All right, so bit of a shit design, unfortunately, but it is what it is. So I'm going to screw this back in, and then we'll get into these pillar trims. Righto, so got our new beautiful trim covers, so you can see on the plastic. Now this tucks in behind this top trim, so pretty simple. Just line up all the clips, and it comes with the clips on it, which is very convenient. And then once it's all lined up, pop it in. Oh yeah, look at that, beautiful. Okay, that's that, all brand spankers, lovely. Got these other ones to go in. Obviously they don't come with the vents, so we've got to pop them out of the old ones and put them in. So this is the main point. They crack across here very consistently. Sometimes they'll crack around the selector and then also at the top. So these two in the middle are the worst. But obviously if you're doing one, do them all, just get it done. I think from memory that was like $60 or $70 Australian for all these new panels. So, you know, definitely worth putting in when it's tidying the car up. Now I'm going to put this panel here in. I'm going to put the pillar trim in first. You'll see I've pulled the weather strip down, okay, door seal, and then this just clips in. Locate this little tab up the top, and it just clips. There's nothing else holding it, okay. Then we'll put this other panel down here in, and then put the weather strip back. Glove box can go back in, sort this out, and then that's this half of the car done already. So this pillar trim just sort of tucks in, okay, just a few little locators at the bottom there, and then a clip there, and the plastic stay at the top, okay. Pretty simple. You can see on the dash there's a little locating point for it. All right, so get it at an angle. I'm trying to do this left-handed, so it just shows you just how simple it is. This little clip here, I'm gonna have to get pliers, twist this, and that sits in through that hole, and then it just pops back in. Done. Okay, one clip, piece of piss. Okay, so with that in, bang, sticks in. All right, this little panel here, you can see it slips under or into a little groove at the top there. So it's just slip it in, twist it around, and it'll find its way in there. And once it's in the right spot, that's it. She'll just clip in. That's it. Okay, now this weather strip can go back on. Alrighty, glove box, very simple. There's two little tabs at the bottom. It just sits on, okay, and clips on. And then this little shock absorber here is to slow your drop, okay. That just has a hold here, which sits over this little bit here, this little dicky. All right, and then you've got these little tabs here on the side to hold it. So you'll see here, bam bam, okay, that's sitting on that. Roll this around, pull it to full extension. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do it. Oops. Okay, that's it, it's on. All right, see it's all hanging here, and then we'll push it up. Get those two little locators in. Okay, they're the stoppers. That's it, done. Piece of piss. Removals reverse. Just pop these out like this, either side, and then it'll come down, pop that off, pop it out. Very simple, 2 seconds, all right? One of the simpler things to do in the whole job. Okay, I'll show you with these vents how to pop them out, and then this one just clips straight in. It doesn't go under or over anything else. It's just straight on. So this one's my old original one, and you can see at some point it's had a car kit installed in it. We just put a phone holder over the top trying to cover those holes, but then you can also see it split at this point here. A lot of them will split here or up here. Okay, so pulling them off is pretty simple. There's 4 tabs, one there, the same on the other side. All right, and then just locate. Once those tabs are popped off and released, it just pops out. So the old one you don't have to worry too much about because it's buggered obviously. So that's that side. Sorry about my finger getting in the way. And then these ones here are a little bit harder to get to. We don't want to break our vent, which is the only reason we're using any caution at the moment, quite honestly. Okay, that's it. It's released. That one there, fuck it off. Put it in the new one. You see it's like for like, same locations. All right. Line up the vent adjuster. Make sure that's going out the hole, and then the rest of it just needs to be squeezed in gently into the right location. So you can see here, when I was trying to push it in, it was getting caught. So just take it easy. It's not going to take more than a couple of seconds, but it's something that you don't want to break. So I'm going to put you down and clip this in. There she is, look at flash. Alright, a couple more to do. Obviously I don't have to show you this, I've already showed you that. We've got that screw in already, so I'll get those vents in. Park switch just clips in from the back. That hole there is for the selector, the vent, and then the other side just needs to push the start button, which I've already unclipped. It just slips straight in, so it's very simple. This one here needs to go in before these trims. Okay, so that one goes in, top trim goes on, bottom trim comes up, screws, which I didn't take the screws out of it, so it doesn't matter, and then the other side clips on. Okay, so pretty simple, doesn't take long. Probably in another 5 minutes I should have all this finished. Okay, so pillar trim's on, and I've got this dash vent done. They're located. Okay, make sure everything else is good. So this panel here, let's flip it the right way. Alright. As you can see, it's just a couple of clips. There's 4 clips. Alright, so locate it. You can see where it's going to sit in those spots. It just needs to roll around to the right angle, and it sort of pushes back in. Alright, so it sits neat. That's that. This lower one, got my dodgy switch here, so let's get that out of the way. You can see it clips in to the top. Alright, a couple of locating points, and it also needs to locate over here. Okay, so I've probably broken something there because I was being a bit of a thug. Same with this side. That bit's broken, but that's alright. So it just needs to sit up into that little locator, and then we've got a clip there. Alright, a few clips, bam, bam, bam. This side here is not sitting real crash hot. So I've probably buggered something up down here. Oh yeah, that's broken. There you go. Let's put that in the right spot, and let's put this one in the right spot. Oh yeah, there you go. That's sweet. Put the alarm LED back in. So I'll just swap that over. Now, last piece. That's popping out. This bit just, oh, sorry, slips up. You can see it sits over the top of all these locators. And then it's a locator up the top there. So we'll get that in its spot, like that. Make sure all these other spots are lined up. And it's going to slide sort of down. Proving difficult to do one-handed. Okay, it's 2 seconds when you've actually got 2 hands available. There we are, we're back together. Well, it's not sitting in real crash hot, so I'm going to fix that up. Here we are. Sweet, still working. Obviously there's a problem, so I'm going to plug the scan tool on and I'll show you what's going on with that. So I got the old launch. As you can see, my subscription's expired. But they want millions of dollars for everything, so I ain't doing it. 16 pin DLC. does take a little bit, unfortunately, to go through the test. So going to do a health report. It's going to scan all the systems. Now, we did have a gateway issue because the instrument cluster wasn't working. Okay, so so cruise control, we've got a fault there, you can see. So this ABS and everything, more than likely that's when I pulled the fuses. Okay, so because I pulled the AMT, I think it is, or AM2 fuse, which controls the inverter pump and the ABS control pump and all sorts of stuff. So you can see converter status low, converter status, all right, so that's all related to that. Power source issue, hybrid control system issue, power supply voltage. This is all because I pulled fuses. So this solar sensor circuit, passenger side, I don't know why, because there's only a driver side solar sensor. Anyway, a servo motor, everything works, so I don't get it. But yeah, this is our main issue originally we had, was combination meter ECU communication stop. All right, so we're going to clear DGCs, rescan, and then you can see we've still got those sensors there. I'm just going to rescan again. They don't matter. They come up intermittently, so I don't really quite understand. I think most of the time when I've got the car running, it doesn't come up. So, you know, so you can see AC faults, and that's it. All right. Triangle of death's gone. We'll start the car. Everything's ready. We're all good to go. So just the door, because we've got the doors open, seatbelt light. So fairly quick fix, not the most simple, obviously. If you don't have basic electronics knowledge, I wouldn't try to tackle it. You've got to at least know what a capacitor is, how to solder, and then testing obviously too. So it's not real difficult, but it is pretty involved. So all in all, I think, because I've mucked around with the kids, putting them to bed and that sort of thing, it's probably taken me maybe a bit over an hour and a half, say, to get to this stage. So I'm fairly happy with that. At the end of the day, it's caused a lot more dramas than the hour and a half it was worth. All right, and the fix itself is like, I think they were like 14 cents or something. Like, it's nothing. It's so it is a quick fix in the respect of it's only one component, very cheap, but it's a little bit involved in pulling the whole dash out. All right, well, I hope this has helped someone along the way, and sorry I didn't show pulling it apart. I just wanted to get the thing done, but once I got to that point, I thought, well, you idiot, you already done a video to start off, so here we are. So anyway, you might have to do things in reverse. Sorry. Hopefully that doesn't deter anyone, but I'll catch you on the next one.